I,
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to let a few more folks join our call, and then we'll get started here in just a few moments. All right, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. My name is Jordan. I'm part of the Monterey Bay Apex Accelerators, and this morning we're going to be talking about capability statements and government contracting. It's a super important aspect of the government contracting process and one of the services that we help provide here at the Apex Accelerator. So we'll tell you a little bit about us. The Apex Accelerator, we are administered by the Monterey County Business Council here locally. We're funded by the Department of Defense. It's been congressionally mandated since 1985. There's 97 centers like ours and just 7 across the US and 7 here in California. Our mission is to promote economic growth and employment opportunities. We facilitate access to the government marketplace at the federal, state, and local level. So the area that we serve is basically the Central Coast and Central California, 14 counties, including Alpine, Amador, Fresno, Kings, Madera, Mariposa, Merced, Monterey, San Benito, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, Santa Cruz, Tulare, and Tuolumne in the teal colored area there. So if you're in that area, then we can help you. If not, we can refer you to one of our partners. So some of the services that we provide here at the Apex Accelerator, we provide confidential client services, including one-on-one counseling, where we can meet like this on Zoom or in the office or over the phone. We talk about pre-award assistance with reviewing opportunities, capability statements, different sites like SAM.gov or California eProcure, post-award assistance in case there's any conflicts or debriefs or protests. We can help you with that process. Outreach events like the one that we're doing now. We have an event coming up actually in November, and then webinars and trainings like the one that we're doing now. Bid matching, which is a public agency solicitation to clients in real time. Basically, all the different solicitations that are out there on these sites, we can help you sign up to get notifications. We help you with navigating certification programs like woman-owned, service-disabled veteran, 8A hub zone, etc. So there's no fees or commitment for our services. We are your tax dollars at work. So one of our great partners in this mission of helping local small businesses is the Small Business Development Center. And our SBDC director here with the Central Coast SBDC is Roger Gilbert, and he's going to share a few words about what they do.
Thank you, Jordan. We work closely with the Apex Accelerator. We have a very similar mission, although we provide one-on-one counseling on a more general basis. We can help a small business or a pre-venture entrepreneur with any type of needs for information or for expertise that you might have. We have a team of advisors who have different expertise, live in different geographical areas, speak multiple languages if that's needed. That should not be a barrier. We can still help you. We have professionals who speak English, Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic, and French. If we have another language, we can also find a consultant regionally who might be able to help with either a different language or a different need. We actually, in this particular SBDC, serve Monterey and San Benito counties, but as will the Apex Accelerator. If you're in a different area, we can refer you to an SBDC that covers your area. And so that is essentially what the SBDC does. If we can be of help to you, easiest way to get a hold of us and to sign up for services is just to go to centralcoastsbdc.com. SBDC for Small Business Development Center. Thanks very much. Appreciate it, Jordan.
Thank you so much for your time, Roger. We appreciate you joining us, and we are excited. The partnership between SBDC and Apex are here to serve small local businesses in the area. So today's agenda and our presenter, who we're going to introduce here in just a moment, has years of experience with these types of issues. But our agenda today is to talk about the purpose of a capability statement. Understand the three types of capability statements, which are general or generic, federal, state, and local agency targeted, sources sought, RFI response targeted, and also the 6 key sections of a capability statement. So to share with you all this important information today is Ms. Rhonda DeVito. She has years of experience in counseling and government contracting herself and is a wealth of knowledge, and we're happy to have you. So Rhonda, please take it away.
Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate the kind words. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our capability statement webinar. I hope you learn a lot, and if you have questions, please ask them during the presentation, or we'll get to them at the end. I do want to mention that all people attending will get a copy of the recording and the slideshow. So if you see something that is really important, you'll get to see that information too, okay? So let's start here. The purpose of a capability statement. First of all, what is it? Okay, it's a government calling card. It's what is a statement about your company that says who you are, what you do, who you serve, and who you've served in the past with your past performance. So it's a one-page synopsis of your business. And by one page, we mean a single piece of paper and one or two-sided. It's up to you. Most are one-sided. And it is a door opener because most agencies, as well as prime contractors, who are the ones directly contracting with the government, they will often ask subcontractors for these as well. And it's just a good cheat sheet to say, here we are, what we do, and we're really good at this. Your performance and expertise and proficiencies. Now this means, what do you do? I mean, are you a general contractor? Okay. Are you a plumber or electrician? You have to be definitive here because they don't have a lot of time to be able to go through everything that you feel is important to you. They want to know what's important to them. Okay. Clearly defines your business. That is, what do you do? Okay. If you are a contractor, if you're an IT company, if you're a consulting company, say that. Okay. Shows what sets you apart from the competition. Now that is a tough one. We call them differentiators. And that tells the reader that you've got something special about your company that they should really need to know about. Your proof of qualification. Now that is your credentials as far as licensing, bonding, insurance, people on your team, what their skill set is, your things that you can really show that you can do the job. Proof of past performance. Now, these are where a lot of people either have them or don't. They don't know how to spin them. They need to know what that proof of is. And that means your references. Your references need to be perfected. And that means that you have the permission from your reference to use them to show your past performance, and that they will be a warm, friendly voice on the other end of the phone or email when any contracting officer or prime reaches out and says, hey, tell me about your company. So, okay, required in many registration, government registration processes. This means that as you submit a solicitation or a registration, they're going to want to know, do you have your company registered in the appropriate places like SAM, the System Award Management. So you want to make sure that you're putting yourself out there in the right places. Okay, there are 3 types or versions of a capability statement, and we're going to go through these, but very quickly. A generic or general one is just one that says this all about your company as briefly as possible, but it doesn't target anything particular, like a targeted one for an agency. If you are responding to a solicitation, say for the US Navy or the California Department of Transportation or whatever, then you should write a separate capability statement. Some companies have many of them, one for each agency, one for each industry that they can serve. So you want to make sure that you are looking at what the agency is looking at for, reading that solicitation if there is one, and being able to write your capability statement directly to answer their questions that they're looking for. Sources sought and request for information response. Now, this is when an agency will put out a specific notice that says, RFI, we want to know if you are interested in bidding on a proposal that we're thinking of putting out down the road here shortly. And we're looking for these qualifications. Can your company address those needs? And this is when you say, yes, we can. And you look at that and say, bullet by bullet, basically, you're looking for this, we can do that. General capability statement. Okay, where do you use them at? Well, you go out to a conference, if you go to any kind of industry day, matchmaking sessions, if you're going to a social event, maybe that is about your industry, and you have a part of an association like a construction industry. Also, using them for a referral purpose, because when you have decision makers out there that are looking for information, and by decision makers, I mean the actual contracting officer or person that has the authority to say, yes, we want you to work with us. Virtually, this is where you want to have them in the right format because you want to be able to share it. If you meet somebody, let's say at an event, and you have no capability statement with you, but you have your business card, and you can say, hey, I'll send it to you, and you follow up with it. It's also a good way to say, thank you, I enjoyed meeting you at the event. A lot of people will post a link on their website to have their capability statement pulled up. Sometimes they put it in a blog or even on LinkedIn. And I might add that if you are registered in SAM, you can also use your narrative and some of that information on your capability narrative on the SBA's DSBS, Dynamic Small Business Search System. Okay, a targeted capability statement. Now, you first want to analyze who is the agency I'm targeting. Are they federal? Are they my local, school board, that are the university? Is it somebody that I know that you can really put enhanced information in there because you've worked with them before? Small businesses representatives. Now, each agency has usually what we call a business liaison for small businesses. And those people are the ones that are usually looking for that capability statement. I often think of them as the screeners for their agency because they're the ones that are tasked with finding new vendors to work with, because the government needs to keep a fresh pipeline of new companies coming in for, the need alone, not only for the innovation and the ideas and stuff that they bring. Technical managers, if there's a real, specific product or something that the agency is looking for, technical managers will be involved in looking for that information. So you want to put technical information about that. I've mentioned primes. Prime contractors, they are always looking for them because they need to screen subcontractors to make sure that they're going to be good teaming partners with them on a big project. Contracting professionals. Now, contracting professionals, they come in all stripes, but there are people that their job is to make sure that the contracts are done right and that they're enforced and that you are getting to those people because they're the ones that have some real input, believe me. Teaming partners. Now, teaming partners could be your competitor, but I don't always like to think of competitors as somebody that you don't want to do any business with. I think of them as collaborators, because if you see a solicitation that looks like it's right up your alley for your company to perform on, but there might be some part of it that you cannot do. This is when you reach out and you put your arm around your competitor and say, hey, I think that you and I can do this project together, and you decide who's going to be the prime. who's going to be the sub. But you need to look at the skills and you need to present that on your capability statement. So the part about mentioning the agency that you're reading there, that's what you want to do, because it makes that agency feel special, like you've done your research about them, that you know what they do, and you know that you can address what they are looking for. Okay, sources sought. When you have an RFI, again, they're looking for something very specific. And I often advise my clients, when you see an RFI, think of it as a problem that the government has, and they're looking for solutions, and you are the solution, okay? So again, read the whole thing thoroughly and make sure that your narrative is addressing exactly what it is that you can do for them. But more than that, you see that word differentiates, it's right there. That's a good word to keep in mind, because a lot of people think of their company as sometimes they get tunnel vision, and I'm the only one out here that can do it because we're special. Well, the government idea of what's special and what differentiates you is probably a little different from yours. And we'll get into this a little bit more deeply, okay? Okay, the 6 key elements of a capability statement. First of all, title it. It's a document. People want to know, what am I reading? Is it your resume? No, it's a capability statement of a company. All right, the narrative. The narrative is basically your 30-second pitch, okay? Think of that elevator speech that, okay, what do you do? Who do you do it for? And how long you been doing it? That kind of stuff. Your past performance. Again, we're going to hammer on this, okay? Because it is the door opener to get in most doors. And if you don't have it, we'll talk about that too. Core competencies. These are often demonstrated in bullets, okay? But these are your services or your products that you do, maybe both. But you need to be able to say, we are experts at XXX. The differentiators, like I said, we'll get into those a little bit deeper too, because we want to be sure that you understand that just because, for instance, if you're certified as a woman-owned business, well, there might be 10 other women-owned businesses responding to that same solicitation. So at what point now, what makes you different from those other 10 competitors? Company data, this is more of the static stuff that just says, company name, address, and other, things that are pertinent to it. So let's move into all this stuff. Okay, a narrative. These are actually a couple of narratives from our Apex clients. Gaiaca is a specialized company, but they say it. They are a waste solutions provider with sustainability at its front. The other one is Pre-Employment Investigations provides background screening for all of your new hires and existing employees right up front. So the reader knows exactly what you do, because you have to realize that the reader's not going to be spending days looking at this. You'll be lucky if you get 20 seconds sometimes and they go on to the next, because a lot of times that reader is the screener at that agency that you're trying to get in the door with. Okay, past performance. Now, past performance is something that describes the companies that you or agencies that you have done work with before. And it is an opportunity, it really is, to tell the things that you can do to benefit the agency. Again, you're the solution to their problems, and those problems are called solicitations. Okay. See the similar work was performed underlined there? That is key, because you may have a lot of different past performance clients and customers. However, if the agency or the solicitation is looking for a particular type of work to perform, then pull out those past performances that are similar, because they don't care if you were doing janitorial work for somebody. They may want to have landscaping, okay? And you might be able to do both of them, but target that. Okay, this is not a resume, all right? And I can't emphasize that enough, especially if you are a sole proprietorship and you're a consulting company, for instance. A lot of that information is personal. However, this is where I advise clients to step back and think of this as the company, not you personally. In other words, think in third person, okay, not first person. It'll help you write better as well. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're prioritizing stuff so that it's internal to that agency, okay, so that it resonates with them. If there's any kind of stuff that you've done for that agency, say, hey, we did this in the past for you. Or if they are a related agency, it might be a Department of Defense agency, but a different, type, area of it. Don't forget federal, state, and local agencies as well. And that includes universities and schools and prisons and stuff that people may not always think of as an agency. Commercial contracts, they're great. A lot of people come from the commercial world and decide to get into government contracting, and that is their past performance. That's great. Who have you done things for that are similar to what the solicitation is asking for, or the agency? Okay, now let's just say you're a brand new company. You're just starting out and you have no past performance, but you know that you have done stuff and you are capable, okay? So if you are a subcontractor, which is a wonderful area to be successful in, you want to say, I was a subcontractor. You may have been working on a U.S. Navy project with that prime, but your customer, the project owner, was not the Navy. But you did work with ABC as the prime to serve U.S. Navy. And you did that by helping out in your area that you were needed for was to help them reduce costs. And maybe that's what you did best. But I want to point out here, the fact that there is an enumerator here with dollars and time, government agencies like to see that because government agencies are very aware of that they are protecting your tax dollars and they spend them wisely. So anytime you can demonstrate with dollars and time and savings, you're going to get people's attention, okay? But again, you can read, do not list past projects that they don't relate to the targeted agency's need, okay? Okay, now let's say that you have no sales whatsoever under your belt, but you're capable again, because you may have been, a master electrician and now you're out on your own company, okay? But you worked for PG&E for X years. So you work for PG&E, okay? They know, they respect that name, okay? So you did, again, same thing, but you identify it, you own it. There's nothing to be ashamed of saying, I'm new, but I can do the work. People like to bring in new blood, primes especially if you're a sub. And I highly suggest that if you are lacking sales, approach a prime before you approach an agency, okay? Okay, core competencies here. Now, core competencies are where a lot of people will say, this is where a lot of the hyperbole comes in, okay? We're the best at this and we're the only ones that know it, okay? But basically, it's if somebody comes to you and says, what are you known for? That's your core competencies, okay? So your expertise, relate them to the agency's needs, and you use a lot of keywords, okay? Think of remember when you've applied for a job and your job description says, we're looking for this, this, and this, and you write back and your resume has these keywords that say, yes, I can do this, this, and this. They put these through scanners. Agencies do that too. These optical readers, they look at these keywords. And if you don't have a lot of them, you're not going to get a lot of attention. They'll probably go into the circular file. Okay, differentiators. This is where the rubber hits the road, okay? This is where you talk about the unique features, all right? That you are able to say, we can do this better than our competition can, okay? Our product is better, it's the latest model, it's got the best IT or AI connected with it. It is cheaper, better quality. Our service is faster. We can take a project and we have a track record of 90% of our projects come in on time and under budget, okay? But again, you want to spotlight how you can use that differentiator of yours to benefit the agency, okay? And it might be to the agency directly, it might be to the prime, and again, potential teaming partner. And a teaming partner could be somebody that you actually form a formal joint venture with legally. Okay, what makes it different from competitors? Okay, location. Now your location, let's just pick on the Forest Service, okay? Or CAL FIRE. They have a lot of land they need to have, and having companies that are near forests might get you the contract because they know it takes a lot of time and travel to move water and logs and whatever else comes out of the forest. So maybe your company is only 5 miles from the forest versus somebody that's going to have to come from 150 miles away, pay for hotels and labor and stuff like that. That would make their bid price a lot more. So maybe location can be something that is approximate idea. Exclusiveness. Maybe your company is the only licensee of something, of a technology or a service from a large manufacturer or a distributor, and you have the certain regional rights or the right to that product can only go through you as a distributor. Or maybe you have a patent and you have the only one in the world that can do this. That'd be great. ISO, International Standards Organization. This is where the 9001s come in and things that are Six Sigma if you're a manufacturer. Companies like to see that level of, expertise. Significant awards. Now, these are not just because somebody liked you and said, hey, you're a good company. This is something that stands out, like maybe from your association that says you are the #1 company in our industry this year, or the agency said, maybe the SBA even said you are our small business of the year because of all your wonderful way that you're growing and scaling and doing all the right things. So that could be something that is different too. Training, maybe your staff is all engineers or master plumbers. Maybe you have special requirements to meet in your industry, like continuing education, and all of your, your staff has that. Maybe you offer special training as one of your services, and your training is at a bigger level than others because you not only do you do it, you can teach others how to do it. Experience. Okay, now this is key, but a lot of times I see it that we have 100 years of experience in our team. Well, that's not always, is it one person with 2 people with 50 years each? Is it 100 employees with a year each of experience? Often it's better to say company was established 25 years ago or in 1987 or something like that. That in itself connotates they've been around this long, they know what they're doing, okay? Metrics. Okay, metrics, again, can you save time? Can you save money for whoever is the contract owner? Can you perform better than others? Can you prove it through your past performance? Okay. And it's true, you don't want to have a big long list because they're not going to read for 10 minutes on your page. They're going to want to know, are there some companies that you can refer to that say, yes, we have done these things before, and they don't, like we have a special team. Great, what makes them special? Okay. So few good ones is better than a bunch of mediocre ones, okay? Okay, let's define those differentiators here. You want to remain focused on the agency needs because thinking of that targeted capability statement, what are they looking for and what can you bring to the table, okay? Specific decision makers. Now, there are evaluators that go into a solicitation, and sometimes they'll actually say, this is how we're going to evaluate your bid package. So if there are decision makers that are key to this award, then you want to make sure that you're addressing that as well. Upcoming contracts. Have you seen on their forecasts on an agency's website that there's something coming up? Can you say, we know that's coming up and we would be a perfect company and we are interested in bidding on this solicitation? Highlighting benefits. Again, what can you do? Can you save time, money? Can you bring a new innovation to the table? Can you help them change the way they've done things from the old way to a really cool new way? There's all kinds of stuff. Again, those metrics. We worked with this agency and we brought $1 million project at 6 months in at 950,000 in 5.5 months. That's what they like to hear, okay? So your real competition, okay? Because when you say I'm different from the guy next door that does the same thing, you're saying it loud and proud right here, okay? Because this tells the reader, okay, that you understand your industry, you know who your real competition is, and it separates you from the people that want to be like you, okay? So keep that in mind. It's a step up, okay? What aren't they? Boy, this first one is one of my favorites, okay? Because I cannot tell you how many times people say, well, I'm different because I'm a woman-owned business or a HubZone certified or whatever. Yes, those are wonderful to have, but they're a cherry on top of all the other things that you do, okay? I tell clients, don't even mention it. Put it on your capability statement under your company data portion. They'll read it. They'll know who you are. They'll go to your website and then you can tell all about it there, okay? So one size fits all approach. All right. We have, and these other words too, like we're the best in the class and world class. That's the hyperbole I'm talking about. Be able to know that the government wants to know specifics, okay? All this vague, fuzzy, warm words, again, save them for your story on your website where you have more to tell about you and how you got there and stuff. This is a condensed version of what can you do and why you're better. Okay, so ask these questions. Your biggest customer, why do they want to work with you versus your competitors? How and why is your company the best choice for this agency? Again, you've done your research. You've looked at what's coming down the pike on their forecasting. You've seen who they're contracting with before. You've looked up those competitors that got those awards, and you pull out the nuggets that say, I know you've worked with this company, but we're better, and this is why, okay? We talked about your better products or services, innovation, okay? Is it maybe your price? Yeah, we can get them in volume. We sell millions of them, so this guy only sells 10,000 a year, we do 1 million. We can bring you volume discounts, okay? Or our product can save, your staff an hour of time of labor every time they use this versus the competitor. Believe me, the agencies think in dollars and cents and time, okay? We talked about the location because I have one client that she got a janitorial contract at a national lab for the beds here in California because she happened to live in the neighborhood and was cleaning the museum down the street, and she got the project because she was there. They couldn't get anybody else to come in because it's such an expensive neighborhood that the labor couldn't afford to travel and commute into that area. Proximity counts. Okay, and again, what is the advantages that you have over your competitors, okay? Okay, company data. Now, this is something that is pretty static stuff, all right? This is, again, stuff that I often recommend putting it on the left-hand side in a column of this capability statement because it's how to get hold of you. That's it, and information that says that you are registered in the right places and stuff. Your point of contact, also known as the POC. That is the person at the company that can speak governmentese, okay? That can answer the phone, respond to an email, and say, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. I understand all those acronyms that you're saying, and I'm the person that is going to make this happen and can give you the information that you want. The email, we don't want it to say info at or admin or support. You want to have Rhonda at, okay? That kind of stuff. And your email address, it shouldn't be the Yahoos and the Gmails necessarily. It should be Rhonda at the MCBC, okay? Or the agents, the company name, okay? Get your domain out there if you don't have one. Website, first thing a contracting officer or a prime is going to do is they find out or see your name, they're going to look you up on your website and they're going to want to see certain data there too. And a lot of times, it's not just, your link to your website. Many companies will also put a QR code on their capability statement, so that if you're at an event, the contracting officer can just pull up his phone and go right to your website. Direct phone number and cell phone number. Now, direct phone number, cell phone might seem like the same, but a direct number, the company has a company number. And if not, and I know a lot of people use their cell phones as their business number now, either one, make sure it gets to the person that can answer those questions that the caller's looking to get answered. The address of the company. Now, this is usually a single address or the headquarters. If you have multiple locations, list them. It's great to do that. Okay, on the federal level for company data, your unique entity identifier number, which comes from SAM, it should be on there if you're looking to do it at the federal level, as well as your cage code. Now, the cage code is very important, and they need to, and just as a reminder, make sure you have your SAM registration active. Keep it active, okay? NAICS codes. These are North American Industry Classification System codes. These are like a broad umbrella that are descriptive of the industry that you're in, okay? This is how the federal government issues solicitations. They will issue it under a master NAICS code, okay? Your local stuff might be under, in California, under the UNSPSC, which is United Nations Standard Product and Service Codes. They're longer, but they're more definitive of the product or service, just like product service codes or federal service codes and supply codes, excuse me. Those are, again, more descriptive. And the reason you want to have both is because each agency often will procure what they need under different codes. One might use NAICS codes. One might use product service codes. California will use the UN codes, okay? And if you're on the General Services Administration schedule, you definitely want to put that on, because the GSA is a unique procurement system into its own self. And it takes a long time to get on it, and you have to serve well underneath it. So that if you have that, it's a well-respected, recognized effort by anybody reading it. So definitely put that on there. Okay, this is where you can put your certifications, okay? Because they're not your leading entity or characteristic to get in a door. It's just something that says, oh yes, we have been vetted by a third-party government agency usually, and we have proven to them that we're a good company, okay? Licenses. Maybe you have a special license for electrician, or you're an engineer, or you have something that is unique to your industry that might be recognized, okay? Bonding capacity, single and aggregate, meaning I can do $1 million project and build it in construction. I can do up to 1 million on a single project, but I have a $5 million aggregate, which means I can have multiple projects going on, and they all have to, they can not all together, they all can't total more than 5 million. Service companies often have bonded employees and stuff. They have service bonding. This is where you want to put that too. Number of employees, it's kind of optional, especially when you're small. You don't always want to say, I'm only one person. Well, that's okay. You can just recognize that you're a small company. But if you have 100 companies, great. That says something. Teams. Now, teams means you have a teaming partner, especially if you have a joint venture going on, okay? If you are working with another company and you two are putting out information, you should have a separate capability statement just for the joint venture, okay? Because they need to know that two companies are marrying up for a period of time. They trust each other, and they're broadening the ability to serve in a larger way. So teams are good to mention, and it also tells that you're more interested in getting the job done and worrying about, who's going to steal the show or your competitor. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, the format. All right. The format is, like we said, one page, but if you have, let's say you have bunch of projects you've done and you can show some pretty pictures or whatever. A lot of times, one page is good because it's quick and easy, but if you have to, I often say, put the static stuff on the front side and your past performance on the back, because you're going to want to keep your past performance updated. And that means your capability statement needs to be fresh. And if you have new projects coming in, and you can update because the other ones are getting stale, or maybe there's a project that is pertinent to this agency that you want to do, a targeted one. It's easier to change one side than it is the whole thing, because oftentimes the formatting can get a little skewered there. But you'll see some samples here too. A PDF, sending it in the right format so it gets read properly and not all skewered up. Send it to yourself before you send it out to anybody else. Make sure it comes through correctly, okay? And that goes for solicitations too, by the way. Okay. Use the 6-section format that we're talking about here and name it, okay? So you can find it again. So, and also the company name on there so that it comes through to the reader. They're going to say, oh, this is ABC Construction Company, capability statement. Great. Who they are and what it is. Okay, let's have some tips here, okay? So, a lot of times people don't want to say they're small. It's okay, because in the government world, legally small, according to your primary NAICS code size standard, matters. It's what qualifies you for set-asides. And set-asides are for women, minorities, small businesses, okay? So it's okay, own it. If you have a profile in SAM, okay, or the Secretary of State's office, register that information exactly the same way everywhere you put out any kind of information about your company. And that means your legal business name, address, all that stuff, make it match. You're looking for consistency here, okay? Spam filters, okay? A lot of people think that if I find a whole list of agencies and get my capability statement, I'm just going to list them all out there and do a blast. They have filters on those agency ends and they get that stuff. So if they feel it's junk, your capability statement will never see the light of day with them. Do your research, find the POC at the agency, the business liaison, reach out to them and say, here I am, like to introduce myself, send it individually to them, okay? And again, subcontracting. I've had clients that have never been a prime contractor and they have been in business very successfully for years and they're doing just fine because subcontracting can be a lot easier, a lot less responsibility, a lot less expensive. It can also be a faster way to generate revenue. And if you're working with a good prime and they like you, they could potentially become a mentor for you in a formal mentor protege program. They can do a lot of things to train you. I mean, they can teach you the ropes. Like contracting agency is not going to say, hey, I'll teach you how to do this. No, but a prime probably will. Okay. Some common mistakes that we have here, okay? Who are you, which capability statement should I use? Should I use just my generic one because it's the only one I've ever made? Or do you have others that you've actually targeted? So, or are you responding to an RFI that even needs more specific information? So tweak yours if you only have a generic one, okay? And make it targeted. Okay, again, right format. Putting your certification status up in the narrative. I'm a woman-owned business, okay? Who cares? No individual contact person. That's the POC. Who am I going to get hold of? I can't tell you how many times people just say info at. Well, who is the info? Too much text. Well, a lot of verbiage can take a long time to read. So if you know that you are writing and writing and writing, hand it to somebody else to read it. Time them. How long did it take them to read it? And if they can slow down and start looking away, you've got too much verbiage, okay? Larger than one page. If it's front and back, fine, but try and keep it on one side if you can, okay? Lack of images. Now this one, this is where you can use color, your logo, Maybe you have a product and it's, a simple picture will say, this is what it's all about. They are worth 1,000 words. Graphics, they can be wonderful. Borders, headers in nice colors and stuff. Use it, because if it's just like a black and white letter and it's just bleeding off the edges, a border can bring it more into a portrait, like a snapshot. Here it is. It's basically what it is. It's a snapshot of your company. And no website. You need a website. If you don't have one, it doesn't have to be a fancy one. It just needs to be able to be found and say, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is who we've done it for, and this is some past performance, and this is, all about us and the other special stuff. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. I know we're bouncing here. I'm going to show you some samples here. I know my mouse is very touchy today for some reasons. My apology. There we go. Gayaka. Okay. This one here is pronounced Gayaka. It's a hazardous waste company. They said, there it is. The name of the document. They have their static information here. This is their layman logo. And the reason that they don't have Gayaka over here is because their logo is their name. Okay, it's what they use. But normally put a logo here, put your company name up here. This is you branding your company right here. Okay. Put capability statement there. Here's all their information, their licenses. They have a lot because they're very regulated. They do marijuana, mostly their cannabis. And because their name is hard to pronounce, they had the etymology down here along with the QR code. So here's one. Here's one from Summit. They're a forestry mulching and fire prevention company. So they say right out, that's who we are. They talk about it, but you can see they use color. They use their logo. They have some headers here that have color. So they've got the information. Here's another one. This is a consulting company. They do all kinds of cool stuff. But again, they've got their title, they've got their logo and name, legal business name. Now, if you have a DBA, then you may want to put your, go back to here, DBA, Gayaka Waste. See how they, oops, I'm sorry, my mouse. They have a DBA, Gayaka Waste Revitalization. So, but their legal name is Gayaka LLC. But you want to brand yourself out there, okay? Here's one here, core competencies. There's their differentiators, company data, and there's that past performance, 1, 2, 3. Here's a 2-page one, okay? This is a company that does concrete design and some very nice stuff like in plazas at government train stations and stuff like that. But they did a 2-pager because they have a lot of past performance. But it was important to stand out and show, wow, look at this thing that they've done, this plaza. That's a little bit different from your guy that's laying a concrete sidewalk, with stripes in it. Okay, so we have certain things we want to remember here. Key phrases, all right? Those are those key words, the things that you do. I'm Rhonda DeVito. I'm an Apex consultant, okay? It's not static. Again, you want to update as needed. If you have more NAICS codes that you add because you've expanded into another service, or maybe you took on a new client that has a really cool project and you want to make sure that gets out there because you're proud of it. You want to use more than one type if you're, targeting agencies. Save it in the right format. Don't forget local and state. It could be your, right down the corner from you. They want to know about this stuff too. And again, remind people on your website that you have a capability statement. In fact, some companies, on your website where you have tabs, who we are, about us, our services, products, contact, all that. Some companies have a tab that says government, okay? And it'll have their capability statement there, a lot of it, a link to it. It'll have their past performance. It'll expand upon their and target information with that, okay? And believe me, contracting officers like to see that, okay? So we have some events coming up here, but we're going to stop for questions here. And Jordan, do we have any questions coming up that anybody's asked at this point? We'll give them a minute too. So raise your hand, put it into Q&A, chat room, whatever. Jordan, I'm gonna have to have you read them because they're not coming through on my end.
Yeah, so I answered them earlier, but who I answered them earlier, but who puts out RFIs and how can I get notified or search for them? SAM.gov. And I said, yes, various government agencies, and SAM.gov is a good source for federal solicitations. And then another question was, how many pages should the capability statement contain? And like you said, it should be one page front and back if you really need that second page.
Okay.
So if
So,
there's any other questions, go ahead and type it in the chat, in the Q&A or the chat, and we will respond.
all right. So, all right. We'll give it a minute here, but while we're waiting there for anybody that has one, coming up in November is going to be an industry event that I think that a lot of you would be interested in maybe attending and using your capability statement, okay? Because this is where the government and businesses have a conference, and it's going to be in the Central Coast area near our offices in Salinas too. And being able to get FaceTime with government agencies in a centralized area where you can go from one table to the next and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what we do. Giving them that pitch, that 30-second elevator speech. Here's my capability statement. And you can meet with them, get their card. And I often recommend to my clients after they've gone to one of these events to follow up with any particular representative at an agency that you met, got their card, for instance, and say, hey, it was really nice to meet you. Thanks for your time. And by the way, here's my capability statement attached in electronic form so they can have it accessible easily too and share it with their cohorts at their agency too. So this one here, I think this would be a good one for people to try and attend if you can. So at the Steinbeck Center in Salinas, and Jordan will be there and he'll be able to meet with you and talk to you one-on-one too. But if you do go, I'm not sure on this one if they are allowing one-on-one meetings with agency reps. If they are, definitely sign up and try and get those because those are golden. Trust me on that. I'd also like to remind you that our own webinars that we do, like this one today, you can see what's coming up on our Monterey Bay apex.org website, and that you can sign up there. And we really like to see you tune in because we have a lot of good topics coming up in the future here. And as you know, it's getting a little more complex to do business with the government, which is why Apex exists in the first place, I'm pretty sure. But being able to answer questions for you as things are coming up, like cybersecurity, things like that are becoming more and more important in the contracts. So we're here to help you. Please contact us if you have any need at all to create a capability statement. We'll definitely help you. We have a guide we can share with you. We can send you samples of some of those that you saw and others that might be pertinent to your industry too. So with that being said, Jordan, do you have anything else to add or do we have any questions coming in?
No, we're good. Thank you so much, Rhonda, for your presentation. And thank you all of the attendees for joining us. If you did sign up with us, you will get a copy of the slides and a copy of this recording shortly after the presentation. Thank you for joining us today and we'll see you next time.
Thank you all. See you soon.
Thank you.